All right, scummy fucks, welcome back to another episode of the Cultural Swine podcast. And I know things are fucking going wild right now with the inauguration, the TikTok ban, all that shit, the NCAA championship. So, in light of everything being so fucking hectic, I'm just gonna do a nice little short and sweet, I don't know how short it will be, but nice little sweet rundown of the executive orders that Trump signed on day one of being back in office. So I think there's 30 of them total. I'm just going to go down the list of all of them, kind of read through them, maybe talk about a couple of them or, go on tangents and whatnot. But I'm going to go through those 30 executive orders on day one. And yeah, so I didn't even watch the inauguration, if I'm being honest. All day I was just kind of chilling, and then I watched the NCAA National Championship. Fun fact, Ohio State's biggest funder and donor is Les Wexner, which is the Victoria's Secret founder. Also, Jeffrey Epstein's bank, why Jeffrey Epstein was operating in the United States. So that's fun. Great job for Ohio State. Glad that they got a national championship, but kind of sketchy that you got your guys' biggest donor is Les Wexner, funder of the infamous Jeffrey Epstein. So fun fact about Ohio State. But let's get right into these executive orders. Like I said, there's 30 of them, and there's some interesting ones, some boring ones, but all of them, I think, nonetheless, are pretty important. So, go here. All right, so I'm going to be going off of this guy's tweet who did a whole thread on all 30 executive orders, and it's Mario Nafal. So if you want to give this guy a follow, go and give him a follow. Here's the original tweet. All of Trump's day one executive orders, a mega thread. Trump wasted no time on his return to presidency, signing a wave of executive orders on the first day in office. From border security to government reform, energy policy, and pardons, the actions reflect his campaign's promises to bring back common sense and restore his America First agenda. Here's a full breakdown of every executive order Trump signed on day one. All right, number one. Trump declares national emergency at the border. This move empowers the Secretary of Defense to deploy military forces quickly and redirect federal resources to address the border crisis. Yes, I do think the border is a fucking crisis, and I think it's honestly an issue of national security. So I don't see anything wrong with this. I think it's very important that we're able to deploy quickly and efficiently troops at the border when a situation merits it. So I think this is good overall. Number two, Trump ends catch and release. So Trump signed an executive order officially ending the federal catch and release program. This policy has allowed migrants who entered illegally to stay in the U.S. while awaiting asylum decisions. Again, I think this is good too. Why the fuck do people that seem to be creating more crime than not, that we're told came here for a better life, but seem to be creating a lot more crime than the normal or average person that lives here, why are they allowed to sit here and either continue committing crimes while they're awaiting asylum decisions, or honestly, why are they taking up space when other people who are trying to get to the U.S. legally could be using that space? So I don't see any reason why people should be allowed to stay in the U.S. while the U.S. is deciding on their asylum status. They should wait where they're coming from, just like everyone else, especially the people who are doing it legally. So I think that's smart too. Number three, Trump reinstates Remain in Mexico policy. This requires asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while the claims are processed. Reducing strain on U.S. immigration facilities, the policy aims to deter illegal crossings and prevent system abuse. Yeah, this kind of goes towards like the last one I just read, that people should stay in Mexico while their claims are being processed. Why would we let people... The point of processing people's claims is to make sure that it's a valid reason we let them into our country. So why the fuck, what kind of retard language or retard speak would it be to let these people that we don't know if it's safe to let them in our country yet, to let them in before their claims will be processed and wait here while their claims are processed?
That makes zero sense. They should wait where they're coming from, just like everyone else that is doing it legally. They should not be, no person that has not been, scanned or processed regarding their claims, no person that hasn't been processed and validated to be here and that they're safe to be here, and that's been determined by the country that's letting them in. If that country that's allowing the person to come in has not determined that person to be a safe migrant, why the fuck would you allow them to come and wait early if you haven't determined them to be safe yet? It makes zero sense. Just wait in the country that they're coming from while your claim's being processed, and then yes, it's going to take some time, but it's worth the wait. So I like this executive order as well. Number 4, Trump resumes border wall construction. First initiated during his previous term, the wall is a key part of his strategy to prevent illegal crossings. The order directs contractors to resume work without delay. Good. Fucking borders keep people out. I mean, not 100% effectively, but better than most things do. I mean, people that are for open borders are retarded. That's just a bunch of progressive retards that come up with this retard language where open borders is just nice and everything's going to go perfect. We're being the nice country and we're going to open our borders and everything's going to go perfect. Okay, dumb fuck. Why don't you open your doors at your house or knock down your walls of your house and then say, yeah, anyone's welcome to come in here. I'm nice. I have food for everyone. Let's see these progressive retards do something like that. And then I'll really believe that they're open border. Because if you're really for open border, what do walls of houses do? What is their job? To act as a border from people intruding. To act as a border not only towards weather, but towards people that want to, intrude on your home and want to cause harm, not only to your home, but to your family. Also, what do doors with locks do? They act the same way as a fucking border. So if these retard progressives really think that they're open border and that they are truly for the policy of open border, no ands, ifs, or buts, just fully open to anyone, then these retards should, take a look in the mirror and then open their fucking houses to anyone that wants to come. They should knock down their walls of their houses. They should take the locks off their doors, and they should allow anyone who feels like intruding on their home to come in whenever they please and take whatever the fuck they want. You're not fucking truly open border unless you're willing to do something like that. So that means walls work, borders work, locks work. So yes, I think we should continue construction on the fucking border wall because out of most things that we implement, the border wall will be the most effective. It's not going to be 100% effective, but it will be effective nonetheless. So yes, every other country seems to have a fucking border, and then it's only mean and evil if the US wants to put up a border wall or wants to impose their border rules or border laws. It's only mean and evil if the US wants to do it, but every other fucking country in the world seems to have borders, and they seem to use their laws to protect their borders. So yes, build the fucking wall. Go back. I don't care. Remember how much people hated this guy in 2016 for saying build the wall? They called him fucking Hitler. They called him a Nazi. And then you have Obama's faggot ass laughing at his jokes at Jimmy Carter's funeral. So Hitler's a funny guy now. And what happened to the guy's a fucking racist Nazi Hitler-like character because he wanted to build a wall? Well, all those fucking retards are backtracking on what they were saying. And yeah, I say build the motherfucker. All right, number 5. Trump designates cartel as global terrorist. This designation allows for tougher measures to target cartel operations, including financial networks and leadership. Trump called this step necessary to combat drug trafficking and human smuggling. All right, this one I kind of have a problem with because when you designate any group of people as global terrorist, like Bush did to the Middle East back when he was president, this allows you to declare war much more easily on that group of people. So I'm not saying that I agree with what the cartels do or I am in support of what they do. I'm not in support of the cartels at all. I think they're a very dangerous group. I also think a lot of them are involved in U.S. intelligence as well. So we should be very careful about that. Also, even though I think the cartels are one of the most dangerous groups threatening the U.S. at the moment, I don't think it's smart to designate them as global terrorists, because now we're giving Trump and his administration the power to declare war on Mexico if we designate the cartels as global terrorists. That gives us authority to declare war. And I don't know if we, as a people, we want to be the ones declaring war again like Bush did to Afghanistan. And like what we've done with Ukraine. I don't know if it's smart to start declaring war, and designating people as global terrorists, especially a group like the cartel, gives room and gives influence to the Trump administration to go and declare war on these people and invade. So I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, is designate people as global terrorists at the moment. And I don't know why. I mean, if people are just going to start throwing the name global terrorist around, the name global terrorist is going to be thrown on the U.S. real fucking quick with what we've allowed to happen in Gaza, what we've allowed to happen in Ukraine, in, Syria, Lebanon, all these places. At one point or another, there's going to come a time where the people other countries label the U.S. global terrorist. So we should watch with what we're doing and who we declare war on. I mean, do you really want to have a fucking war right on our southern border? Right there? I mean, that's basically fighting on our homeland now. That's really fucking close. That's closer than any war. That's closer to the U.S. people than any war that's been fought in the last probably 50 years, 100 years. So I don't know if the U.S. is really ready for what that really means if we label the cartels global terrorist. So we should, that executive order is a little sketchy. 6. Trump suspends refugee resettlement for 4 months. The pause is part of his border strategy to address what he calls the migrant invasion of America. Okay, I'm for this. Suspending refugee resettlement for 4 months. It's 4 months. It's temporary. We do need to get the open border, and allowing everyone has caused a mass of influx, like too big to control. So this is probably a good thing, shutting this resettlement refugee program down for 4 months so we can figure out what the fuck's going on, how many people are actually in here illegally, who's here, who should say who's going to be going, blah, 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 all this. It's probably a smart thing to shut things down for a little bit to figure shit out. So I'm not against that one. 7. Trump changes birthright citizenship rules. The 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to those born in the U.S., but Trump's order challenges that interpretation. I think this is good as well. I mean, these are for people. I mean, you can't just hack the system and come here and then have a bunch of offspring and then get them all legal citizenship when people have been waiting years, even decades, some, to get it legally. That's not really fair. That's kind of abusing the system. So I'm not against this either. But also, sometimes it does happen. You do come across, and then you have a kid or two, and they get, I don't know. It's hard to look at each individual situation. It's hard to do that because you look at each individual one, and then you want to give the benefit of the doubt to those people. But on average, people are probably abusing this system. So I don't know, really. You can't really look at it at an individual level because then sympathy and empathy comes into it, and that kind of hurts everyone on average. All right. 8. Troops deployed to the border. Trump authorized the deployment of military forces to the southern border through an executive order. The directive tasked U.S. Northern Command, NORTHCOM, with repelling mass migration, drug trafficking, and human smuggling. I love this. I don't know why the fuck we have troops in Ukraine, troops in Israel, troops everywhere in the fucking around the world fighting wars off seas, protecting other countries, when those troops should be here in the United States with the responsibility of protecting the United States citizens. And given that there seems to be an invasion at the border at the moment that can be very, very dangerous for many U.S. citizens, I think it's smarter to bring troops back here, protect U.S. borders, train them here, keep them here to protect the country they serve. They should not be overseas fighting wars for other countries that our government seems to want to fund. That's a bunch of horseshit. That's not what the military is for. The military is to protect the people of the country they serve. And it makes zero sense that people would believe that fighting in Ukraine or fighting in Israel or fighting on another country's turf is protecting the U.S. people. Protecting the U.S. people would be protecting the border invasion that's happening at the moment and being stationed on the U.S. southern border. That would be protecting the U.S. people. So I love this. I think we should bring all our troops back from overseas. If you look at how Rome fell, Rome's military got so powerful that they started fighting a bunch of overseas wars, and that left their border vulnerable to invasion because all their troops were sent overseas. It makes perfect sense. So when you send a bunch of your military troops overseas to fight wars that you're funding, well, that leaves your border vulnerable and the people who live in that country vulnerable. And particularly the leadership in that country becomes vulnerable at that point. So I think bring the troops back, secure the southern border, protect the U.S. people, and I think that's the smart way to go. Number 9. Trump orders enhanced border vetting. The measure aims to close loopholes and strengthen processes to identify and block security threats. Good. I love this. This honestly, if you look at it another way, though, this can be used against the U.S. people too, and could be a security threat. Enhanced border vetting allows them to have better security on the people coming in, but it also allows them to now have better security on the people that are already in the country as well. So that can be a double-edged sword. But as far as this whole executive order goes, I kind of like it because a lot of people are coming from places like, the Middle East and other places, and they're disguising themselves as Hispanic or Brazilian or Mexican or coming from Hispanic descent, and they're rarely from the Middle East, but they're masking it so that it's easier to get in. And then once they're in, now you have these terror cells that clump up together. So I think the enhanced border vetting would be a net win, a net positive. 10. Trump ends government censorship. The order directs agencies to cease any actions that suppress free speech, framing it as a restoration of First Amendment rights. Good. Good. It's our most important amendment, besides the second one, which protects the First Amendment. Without the Second Amendment, you lose your First Amendment. Try getting your guns taken away. Now say whatever the fuck you want. No, you can't. You'll shut your little pretty fucking gullet real quick if your guns get taken away. Now, when you have guns and the government starts getting out of line, you can start voicing your opinion. And when they snap back, you can say, you might want to watch where you're going with this. But without the guns, you don't really have that say. And then they can say one more thing without guns and we'll see what happens. And it kind of shuts you the fuck up. So guns are so important. But now ending censorship, people can truly embrace their First Amendment, what this fucking country was built on, what truth is built on. Truth is built on being able to say whatever the fuck you want, and the response you get is going to tell you if that whatever you said was valid or not valid. A lot of people say that the First Amendment is to get a response. You should be able to say whatever you want to say, no matter how vulgar or bad or wrong, or maybe even it could be right. You got to be given the full immunity to say whatever you want, as long as no one's getting hurt or you're not inciting violence. You need full immunity to say whatever you want and whatever you're thinking, because this allows people to respond to you. And now, when you allow responses to whatever you're saying, you're now validating or invalidating whatever you said. The response of people to what you say is going to tell you if you were right or if you were wrong, or maybe there's still some figuring out to do with what you said. But the response is just as important as whatever the person is saying, because this kind of tells them if they're right or wrong, and then they can go from there. We're all navigating the world like this. We say things that we think. We get a response. If it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, we re-navigate and try to figure out what we did wrong. If it's right, we kind of progress in the world. That's how we navigate things. So that's why the First Amendment is so fucking important. And that's why getting the response of whatever you're saying is also very important, and arguably the reason for the First Amendment. So this is amazing. Yes, government censorship is one of the most evil things in the world. It sways elections. It takes away people's humanity. It takes away people's liberty. It takes away what this country was built on and what made this country, which is the United States, so great, was freedom of speech. Okay, so that's great. I love ending okay, so you're going to end government censorship. I hope this goes for X as well. And I hope this goes for the people that are criticizing Israel, that they get their blue check marks reinstated on X. There is no reason that those people should have had their blue check marks and monetization taken away from them. All they were doing was criticizing Israel, Netanyahu, and what's going on in Gaza. And this goes to TikTok. They just tried to ban TikTok. Well, why? They could have banned so many other. They could ban every single social media account. But why they choose TikTok? They say it was because it's owned by China. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's kind of sketchy. But it's also sketchy that how many presidents have been in trouble for selling secrets to China in the past. How much farmland is the U.S. selling to China that's next to military bases? Is that not sketchy? Why is China allowed to invest in U.S. companies and U.S. stocks and on the U.S. stock exchange, but we're not allowed to invest on their stock exchange in China? Why does China have all this power and influence in the stock market, in real estate, in social media, but it's all TikTok's fault? That's kind of weird. I feel like China can get a lot of this information in a bunch of different ways. And I think the U.S. government is using the China excuse to ban it. And it's not going to work because, China can get that information a lot of different ways, and that's been shown. The thing that they're banning it for is because most of the young generation gets their news from TikTok. None of the young generation goes on CNN, Fox, mainstream media news sources. They rarely go on alternative news sources that aren't mainstream. The one that we find the majority of the young generation using for the news, for a news source, is TikTok. So, in TikTok seems to be like this pro-Palestinian, a big criticizer of Israel in regards to the content they show. So if a lot of young people and a lot of the younger generation are getting their news from TikTok, they're also getting their news about the wars going on from TikTok. And that means TikTok is going to be, given that they're more pro-Palestinian, it seems like, they're going to be showing what Israel is doing to Gaza at the moment. Just leveling whole cities, whole areas of land, just decimating, bombing hospitals with children and women in them to kill a handful of Hamas agents. It just seems like a nonstop killing spree. And TikTok is showing those videos, and they're showing detailed videos of what's going on with the war with Israel and Gaza. And they're kind of showing what's actually happening, the truth behind it. And this really hurts Israel and hurts the influence that Israel has over America if the young generation is kind of criticizing Israel now and going against them because of what they're seeing on TikTok regarding the war in Gaza. So this seems to be the real reason TikTok got banned, is that, what should I say, the Jews or some very powerful people don't want the young generation being exposed to the degree that they're being exposed at what's going on in Gaza regarding Israel's role in this war. And so they took it away, but it got reinstated right away. They held the line and they got it back. Now, this should show something. Are you really going to end government censorship if it includes criticizing Israel and criticizing the war in Gaza? Because they tried to shut TikTok down just because The young generation gets their news from TikTok, and they're getting their news about the war in Gaza from TikTok. That seems to be why it was shut down. So that would be government censorship. So is Trump going to end government censorship completely? Is he absolutely going to get rid of government censorship? Because it would not be getting rid of government censorship if powerful people can somehow get TikTok removed because they don't want video footage of the war in Gaza being, deployed on the app. That would be a form of government censorship. It would be a form of government censorship if people on X got their blue check marks removed and got their monetization taken away because they criticize Israel and because they criticize the war in Gaza. That would be government censorship. So when Trump says he's ending government censorship, I hope this extends to people that criticize Israel and criticize the war in Gaza. We'll see. He got a ceasefire pretty early on, but that does not mean a peace treaty. So we'll just have to wait to see what goes on with Israel and Palestine to really understand if Trump's actually going to end government censorship. Because if you're ending government censorship, like I said, that has to extend to criticizing Israel and the war in Gaza. All right. 11, federal hiring and regulation freeze. He specifically targeted the IRS for a hiring freeze and ordered federal workers to return to their office. I'm not too well versed in this, but this seems like a good thing. The IRS was, I guess, freezing a bunch of hiring. And, Trump seemed to have stopped that and ordered people to return to their offices. I don't know which specific federal employees these would be, but I don't know. If they're getting paid, their asses need to be in the fucking office. That's all I got to say. But, all right. 12, Trump targets weaponization of government. This move aims to restore fairness and prevent partisan misuse of federal power. It's amazing that Trump had the maturity to do this, given that the left and the Democratic Party just totally 100% weaponized the justice system against him and tried to put him in jail for felonies regarding paying back loans too quick and also paying off a porn star not to say anything about them fucking. Last time I checked, that was never a felony. It was never a felony when Bill Clinton was sticking cigars in pussies of secretaries from Israel that were getting, information on him for Netanyahu in Israel. But there's no felonies involved in that, in getting head from secretaries who were also Israeli spies. No felonies there. No felonies for Benghazi and whatever the fuck Hillary decided to do in Libya. No felonies for Biden and his crackhead son for money laundering billions of dollars in Ukraine. For how long? No felonies there. But when it comes to Trump, they're going to use the justice system and have, over 30 felonies for what? Paying back loans too fast and fucking a porn star and telling her to shut the fuck up about it. So it's a felony when Trump literally pays back a loan too quick and also pays off some whore to not talk about them fucking. But it's not a felony when you have Clinton sticking cigars in pussies of secretaries who are also Israeli spies, or when it's not a felony when you have Clintons running coups in Libya and getting U.S. personnel killed. It's no felony when you have a crackhead, degenerate pedophile named Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma money laundering billions of dollars for his president father. There's no felony there. But there's a felony, there's over 30 felonies for Trump because he paid back his loan too quick. And because he wanted to, have a little fun, do a little butt stuff with a porn star. That's a felony. So I'm just saying, it's pretty fucking mature that Trump's targeting the weaponization of government because they totally, absolutely 100% used the justice system against him. And this could merit Trump now using it against them and locking up who knows how many people in the last administration. But he's actually going to say, we should not be using this. This is fucking dangerous for governments to get involved with, using the justice system and using the government as a weapon. It's a very dangerous road. So good for Trump. We should definitely not be in the game of weaponizing justice systems or governments. 13. 78 Biden orders rescinded. The rollback targets policies that Trump says undermined American prosperity and national security. Good. 14. Security clearances revoked. Trump revoked security clearances for former officials who signed a letter claiming Hunter Biden's laptop was false. So that really came back to bite all those dumbasses in the fucking ass. All those people, all those security, all those intelligence officers, forgot how many there were. All of them who signed that, what was it? That letter. I think there's like over 70 of them. Over 70 intelligence officers signed the letter that Hunter Biden's laptop was false. Probably thinking that this administration is going to be in power for a while, given that they're trying to take over the United States government. And, well, they failed in doing so with that retard Kamala Harris. And I guess you could say part of it's Thomas Matthew Crooks' fault, too. Because that motherfucker is a worse shot than Bronny James Jr. So they got fucked in the ass here because they thought, well, if we sign this, we're going to be good with this administration for as long as they're in power. Well, that power didn't last very long. And so now all those retards just lost their security clearances. And that's huge. They're scumbag frauds. They should honestly be fucking tried and put in jail. But given that we don't weaponize the justice system, Trump is just going to take away their security clearance, which is great. They'll never work again, hopefully. Unless one of those retard progressives gets in again, and they're all rehired. But I think that anyone that signed a letter saying the Hunter Biden laptop was false, which had videos of him fucking hookers, putting guns to people's heads, smoking crack, snorting coke out of assholes, fucking minors, you name the fucking charge, it's on there. Anyone that signed a letter saying that shit was false, which could have swayed the whole election, definitely deserves getting the security clearance taken away. Not only getting their security clearance taken away, but they should honestly be tried and prosecuted for this, for swaying an election. It's treason, 100%. But I guess we'll have to settle for the security clearance revoked. All right, 15, death penalty restored. The order directs the Attorney General to ensure states have access to necessary lethal injection drugs. I like this. It's just when you're messing around with something like the death penalty, it's very sketchy because you don't want to be that person that's on death row for something they didn't commit. And well, it makes you ask that question. When it comes to the death penalty, would we rather have a bunch of people that are guilty for horrific crimes that they should have been put on death row for? Would we rather have a bunch of people running around who are guilty that were never prosecuted and put on death row, or would we rather have one person that's innocent that is on death row? I don't know. I think I'd rather have a bunch of guilty people running around in the public, because when it comes to that one person that's put on death row that's innocent, that person could be you. And when you put it into that perspective, you don't want to ever be that person. So it's kind of hard to come around on the death penalty if the death penalty is not always 100% effective in, handing out guilty verdicts. And if the justice system isn't always 100% effective and accurate on these death row inmates and the people they put on death row, even if they're wrong 1% of the time, those are innocent people getting put on death row, and you never want to be that person. And to think that you could be that person is a scary thought. So when it comes to the death penalty, we need to be very fucking careful. And as good as technology is getting, we need to make sure that we are as close to 100% accuracy on death row convictions as we can be. Because to put an innocent person on death row is like one of the most horrific and evil things that can happen to someone. So, I mean, I'm all for the death penalty for people that fucking deserve it, like the guy in New York who lit a lady on fire and let her burn alive on the subway. That guy, fucking kill him. He's worthless. Worthless to society, worthless to anyone around him. Just end him. I don't even know why we're waiting. Kill him. But then you have the guy that goes on Rogan all the time, and he's gotten people off for shit they didn't commit. Now, funny enough, not funny, but that guy brought someone on Rogan. I forgot his name. It's the Innocence Project. And the person he had just got off, literally like a month later, got thrown back in jail for literally killing someone over I think it was a drug deal gone bad, and he decapitated him and dismembered him and got rid of his. I guess when he got out of jail, he didn't realize how good security and technology got, so he thought a wig would be enough to trick the cameras. So these cameras caught him, with the dismembered body doing whatever he was doing, and the wig didn't help him. And so that guy that literally got out on the Innocence Project off of death row just got thrown right back in. And so I don't know. When it comes to the death penalty, things can get really weird. So I don't know. I'm all for it, but we need to make sure that our technology, with the technology we have nowadays, we need to make sure that we are as close to 100% accurate with our convictions for death row inmates as we can be. Because, like I said, just 1% inaccuracy causes innocent lives to be killed for no reason. And that is like one of the most evil things you can think of. So, yeah, I'm for the death penalty being restored and handed out to people that 100% deserve it. But we need to be very careful with, the accuracy of death penalty convictions. All right, 16, reforming policy making federal positions. Trump reclassified federal roles with policy-making authority to enhance accountability. This policy reinstates a system to dismiss underperforming or insubordinate employees more easily. Trump framed it as necessary to ensure federal staff align with his administration's goals. All right, this would be good. This is essentially going against DEI. So then this kind of helps avoid having three fat dykes running around on the Los Angeles Fire Department, not knowing what the fuck they're doing. So yeah, anything that avoids DEI or anything that's not a meritocracy is a win for me. A country is only going to benefit when people who are right for the job are doing the job that they are right to be doing. Also, a person that will benefit the most from the job are usually the people that deserve the job and will do the job better than the next person. So let me say that in other words. When you run something on a meritocracy, when you run a system on a meritocracy and not on DEI bullshit, you get people in the jobs that are the right people for those jobs. When you have the right people in the positions of the jobs that they are right for, those people also benefit the most from the job. So this would be good. All around, I think this would be good. 17. Trump addresses cost of living crisis. This is a very true thing. You can't even renting is absurd in some places. It seems less likely that young people will be able to own homes in the future every single day. Everyone wants to be able to own a home because that allows people to start families. It gives them leverage to start businesses and take risk. It kind of gives you a home is capital for young people, and they can leverage it, and they can start families, and they can actually start completing their life goals. So I'm all for this. The directive focuses on reducing financial burdens on American families through targeted actions and reforms. 18. America First foreign policy implemented. Trump signed an executive order to implement an America First foreign policy at the State Department. The order mandates all operations, policies, and programs to prioritize U.S. interest above globalist agendas. Good. That's a net positive. 19. U.S. foreign aid suspended for 90 days. Trump paused all U.S. foreign assistance programs for 90 days via executive order. The suspension allows for a review to ensure aid aligns with his administration's policies goals. Okay, so this is good. We should not be funding offshore wars. We should not be sending aid to countries that don't have our best interests. We should not send aid to corrupt politicians like Zelensky and Netanyahu And we should really go over and review where this aid is going, how much aid was going to where, and how much aid was actually being used for aid, and how much aid was being pocketed by scummy fucks. So I love this. And I hope that they don't only review and go over where this aid is going. I hope they end up cutting off all aid to wherever we were sending it. Israel, Ukraine, in the likes. Wherever wars are going on, we seem to be sending aid. So we should not be involved in those wars, in my opinion. So we should not be involved in sending aid for those wars. So I hope they end up cutting it all off. I think they'll cut off the aid to Ukraine. I don't think that, given Trump's administration and his cabinet he's chosen, and, well, people within his very immediate circle, people involved in his family, I don't know if he'll cut off the aid to Israel, and I don't know what's going to happen with that war, so we'll just have to wait. But overall, I do like the U.S. foreign aid suspension for 90 days. I hope it extends for infinity, but we'll see. Number 20, Trump rejects global tax deal. Trump issued an order rejecting the commitments to the OECD global tax deal made under the previous administration. The order safeguards American companies from extraterritorial taxation and discriminatory practices. It also tasks the Treasury and Trade representatives with proposing protective measures against unfair foreign tax policies. Okay, that's cool. No, we fucking hate domestic taxes, so we should probably look at ending that too. So if you're just going to reject the global tax deal, why can't we reject our domestic tax deal as the people? So I think Trump showing that he hates taxes globally. Why do we have taxes domestically? Why do people that literally paid for it and own their house, they've owned it for 2 decades, why are they paying a fucking property tax on that house that they fucking own? That makes 0 sense. Why are people getting taxed on their income? Why do we get taxed on every single fucking thing and we have no clue what it's getting sent to? Why don't we get to pick where it's sent to? So I guess I'm all for rejecting a global tax deal, but we should also look into rejecting a domestic tax deal. 21. Trump declares national energy emergency. Trump declared a national energy emergency, rolling back leasing for wind farms and ending Biden's electric vehicle mandate. The order reduces regulatory hurdles for oil and gas production to revive American manufacturing and boost energy exports globally. Trump framed the move as critical to energy independence and economic growth. This is great. We were running ourselves into bankruptcy and ruin as a country by mandating electric vehicles, these wind farms, and trying to go carbon neutral. That was this Green New Deal bullshit, this $1 billion deal that could quite honestly kill billions of people because of the energy reduction, taking away fossil fuels. Not only that, it could bankrupt even more people than it kills. So this is a very good thing that's going to save lives economically and literally by, rolling back these wind farms and these electric vehicle EV mandates. They make 0 sense. They're only going to cost lives, and they're going to cost lives economically and literally. People will die without fossil fuels. People will die of either you can die of heat, you can die of the cold, you can die so many different ways when you don't have energy, and fossil fuels gives that energy to so many people that would not get it if we were run on a zero carbon emission program. If we were run on that, so many people would fucking die. So many people would die, and economically that would devastate even more people. So fossil fuels are mandatory right now. We are not that advanced, or we are not that advanced to where we could go without fossil fuels. They are fucking mandatory. They are necessary. So it's not saying that people can't drive EVs. People can, but it should stay at the rate at what it's at now, driving the EVs. We don't have an electric grid to fucking power everyone driving an EV and everyone being carbon neutral. That would destroy our electric grid. And if our electric grid goes out, everyone turns to a barbarian, and it's a free-for-all. And that just, well, you see where that goes. 22. Trump withdraws from Paris Climate Agreement. Thank fucking God. The withdrawal process will take years, making the U.S. one of the few nations not bound by the accord. This goes right into the Green New Deal. It makes zero sense. It only benefits the very wealthy people and the very wealthy people involved in the policy. It's only going to benefit them. Fossil fuels are necessary for most people in the world. And they're going to blame all the carbon emissions on the cows farting and shitting themselves and burping. And they'll end up extending that to people burp and shit and fart, and that's releasing carbon. But they won't talk about Leonardo DiCaprio or Taylor Swift or all these mega wealthy individuals who advocate climate change. No one will ask them why the fuck they're driving private jets to every single appearance or show that they go to. So ask them those questions. I mean, carbon doesn't get released in the air when we release rockets that blow up in space. Nothing gets released there. So we should start asking the mega wealthy people, why are they still driving private jets, but we can't allow the cattle to burp or fart anymore? Makes zero sense. And what happens when they extend it to us burping and farting and they get to fly their private jets and the only people that travel are really rich people? But no, since the people and the cows are farting and burping too much, no one gets to travel except if you own a private jet. So yeah, fuck the Paris Climate Agreement. We should have never been in it. It only benefits the mega wealthy people. It devastates poor people. It can lead to millions of lives being lost among the poor people. It can lead to a lot of devastation financially among middle class and poor people. The Paris Climate Agreement only benefits rich people. Going carbon neutral only benefits rich people. The wind farms only benefit rich people. They kill millions of birds, they kill whales, but they benefit rich people. Going all EV only benefits rich people. But it devastates the electric grid and it devastates the people who, well, need fossil fuels to survive. This is a very good thing that we're out of the Paris Climate Agreement. 23. Trump opens Alaska's oil reserves. Trump signed an order unlocking the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in Alaska for oil drilling. The directive also cuts red tape on oil and natural gas production, aiming to unleash the state's resource potential. I don't know what to do about this. I'm not versed on this, so I'm not going to give too many comments, but I think drilling is good. I just hope that we're not killing a bunch of wildlife and fucking up habitats in the process of doing so. But as long as it's drilling and it's going to help the American, or not only the American people, help, I guess, humanity, I say why not? But I'm not well versed in this, so I don't want to go too deep into that. All right. 24. Trump halts offshore wind expansion. Trump paused offshore wind release, or no. All right, 24. Trump halts offshore wind expansion. So, Trump paused offshore wind lease sales and approvals through an executive order. The directive temporarily halts all permits and loans for wind projects onshore and offshore. Trump cited the need to prioritize traditional energy sources and their economic benefits. Great. Good shit. This is what we want to see. These wind farms do nothing. They create some energy, yes. They kill millions of birds, especially bald eagles. And they put them in the fucking ocean. They kill whales. I mean, these are very sentient creatures. I mean, we're just killing them. In the name of what? Producing some energy? And then what happens to these huge ass wind turbines when their the ability to operate is not, it just ceases. What happens to these wind turbines when we can't use them anymore? Well, we just let them break down and just rot and rust on the land that they were put up on, and nothing's done about them. So not only do they not bring in that much energy, not only do they kill millions of birds and whales, but they also just rot and rust in the place that they are put up at when they can't be used anymore. So it's a net negative. It's a net loss using these wind turbines. And there's no reason to use them when we have a very effective way of let's say, of acquiring energy and dispersing energy in the form of fossil fuels. So I like this as well. 25. Trump establishes Department of Government Efficiency. Co-led by Elon and Vivek, the agency aims to eliminate overspending and streamline federal operations. I love this because a whole bunch of government agencies, whole bunch of alphabet agencies got created under the Biden administration, and that means a bunch of jobs were created, and now we have to pay those government jobs in the form of taxes. People get taxed to pay these people's salary. But when you look at what their agency does or when it was created, it seems worthless and they seem like they're doing nothing. And it just seems like we're just paying employees for zero reason. And it's almost like a way of making money for the government is to just, manifest a bunch of different agencies, have a bunch of different employees get hired. And well, with no real function, we still pay them. So it makes zero sense. We need to cut that shit in half, it seems like. And that's what Elon and Vivek were saying. Now, there's some rumors that Vivek is actually being forced out. There's rumors going around that the team at Doge and Vivek had some disagreements and they're in the process of pushing him out. So I don't know. We'll have to wait on that. But overall, the Doge and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to be a net benefit, I think, especially if they lay off a bunch of these worthless workers and they eliminate a bunch of these worthless and unproductive agencies that were created. That will really help go towards our huge debt that's larger than the national military budget, hundreds of trillions of dollars, which needs to be addressed like immediately. So a way to address that is to get rid of dead weight, jobs that aren't productive, employees that aren't productive, and agencies that aren't productive within the government. So that's a great way to do that. So let's hope Doge carries out what their mission statement was. 26. Trump delays TikTok ban. We already kind of talked about that. That's a great thing to do. If they can ban TikTok, they can ban anything they want. That's what that means. And I was a huge advocate against not having TikTok, but I never said ban it. But now that they want to ban it, I'm downloading. I'm right when I can get that shit, I'm getting it. Because when someone tells me I can't use this or I can't listen to what's being said on this, I immediately become skeptical of that person saying you can't. So I can't wait till I can get TikTok. But like I said, if they can ban TikTok, that means they can ban any other social media that they deem to be dangerous or a foreign country's asset, etc. So if they want X banned because there's too much anti-Semitism or too much criticism of Israel and Netanyahu, maybe they can ban that next. So never let government start banning things, even if you don't like that thing they're banning, because that just gives them more power and influence to come for what you actually like next. So I love that he delayed the TikTok ban. I think he should even delay the Red 3 dye ban as well, because once you give government power to start banning stuff, they will start banning stuff that they'll just start banning whatever they can get their hands on. And if you're a person that liked the Red 40 ban, the Red Dye 3 ban and the TikTok ban, maybe you were for that, but they will come for something that you enjoy next. So never be all right with government bans. All right, 27. Flags at full staff. All right, 27. Flags at full staff on Inauguration Day. Trump signed an order mandating flags be flown at full staff on the future inauguration days. Nice. The directive clarifies protocol after Biden's earlier half-staff order for President Carter's death caused confusion. Trump said the move ensures a consistent national tradition. Nice. 28. Trump appoints officials in signing ceremony. Trump formally appointed 22 cabinet and non-cabinet officials, 47 sub-cabinet leaders, and 31 acting designates. Trump handed ceremonial pens to Vice President Vance and congressional leaders during the event. Nice. 29. Full pardons for January 6 rioters. Trump signed pardons for 1,500 January 6 rioters, calling them hostages of political persecution. He also announced sentence commutations for others pending further review. Fuck yeah. January 6th should be he should make it a national holiday next, honestly. Make it a fucking national holiday. Let's go. Let's go, J6. Free my J6 boys. Let's go. And girls. And theys and thumbs. This is amazing. And Biden on his last day pardons Fauci's bitch ass, who should be criminally tried and prosecuted and honestly hung for what he's done to not only the American people, but to people globally. Biden pardons Fauci, some other person, some other fucking scumbag, and then he also pardons everyone on the J6 staff that put these people in jail. So fuck you, Biden, you scumbag. And shout out Trump. You're the GOAT for this. Those people did not deserve to be in jail. They were let into the fucking Capitol. They were walked around like they were given a tour. No leader or government official was hurt in this process. And if you look at the people that were in those riots, they were straight feds. They were straight FBI agents getting people riled up to go in and try to break into the Capitol. And then when people were asked during, when people went on trial for January 6th, government officials were asked, to your knowledge, were any federal agents involved in the January 6th riots? And they said, we can't answer that, which means yes. So not only were people let in and toured around the Capitol, and which was labeled a riot and a break-in, there was also federal agents in the crowds getting people hyped up and riled up to go and break into the Capitol. So they were instigating it. So where are those people? They were never in jail. Ray Epps was one of them. Why wasn't he ever in fucking jail? He should be prosecuted. All right, 30, last one. Trump limits definitions of gender identity. Thank fucking God. Ban the trannies and vaccines, please. Trump signed an executive order requiring federal agencies to define individuals by sex, not gender, in policies and documents. Thank God. We don't need 40-year-olds trying to change in the bathrooms with fucking short skirts, crop tops, and beards with children. They're freaks. The order restricts gender identification options to those assigned at birth. Yes. You're assigned with, you can feel how you want to feel. Sure, if you're a consenting adult, feel how you want to feel, fuck who you want to fuck, love who you want to love. But stop coming at children, because children are easily confused and easily corrupted. Now, when I look at you and you have a short skirt on, a full beard, a beer belly, a crop top shirt, and a wig on, and you want to dress in the women's locker room and you want to use the women's bathroom, I'm saying no, because you're a fucking man. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. You're a fucking man. Now, no, you don't get to change with children, and you don't get to change with women. That's not how this goes, dummy. You want to try that shit, then you're gonna end. I don't know. You should be in prison, or 6 feet under. You choose. Okay. You don't. I mean, this should be common sense at this point. So fuck it. Fuck yes. Limit the definitions of gender identity. Why the fuck are there 72 genders? And they expect me to believe that we went to the moon and we're down here fucking arguing about 72 genders? Get the fuck out of here. Male, woman, they or them. Let's keep it at that. I'm good with those 4. Man, woman, they or them. I can live with that. But 72, like, holy fuck. 72 genders? I mean, god damn. Are we going to be tested on this? Imagine in biology, just like this section, we're going to be going over the genders. And there's going to be a multiple choice question of 72 questions. There's going to be a multiple choice exam with 72 questions on the 72 genders that one could possibly be. No, fuck out of here. Good shit, Trump. I respect it. So, 30 executive orders we just went over there. Some good, some great, some not so good, some bad. But overall, I think these executive orders are going to be positive. I also think it's going to be a net win after Trump's first day. So we have 4 more years to go. It's going to be a wild ride. That's it for today. Everyone, stay scummy. Peace.